name is Henry. I'm a physician working in primary care and emergency medicine, primarily in northern communities in Canada. So homeostasis is the process by which an organism maintains the optimal internal conditions for its function by adjusting for external factors like temperature, the availability of food, water, and nutrients. So separating the body from our consciousness, excluding psychological needs, if we're only interested in preserving physical existence, assuming you're in a place where you're protected from the elements, from flooding and things like that. For example, if you're a comatose patient in an ICU, then you would need oxygen. You would need an appropriate atmospheric pressure similar to the Earth. You need to have water to account for fluid losses from our mucous membranes, our skin, and our kidneys. You need to consume energy in the form of caloric intake. You would need protein, electrolytes, micronutrients like vitamins and metals and things like that. And we would also, interestingly, need movement as well as part of our basic bodily functions. So if you think about it, life is not really compatible with absolute stillness. Even if you are in a coma, your heart would beat from spontaneous electrical impulses, and if you're on a ventilator, the bellows would be inflating and deflating your lungs, creating artificial movement. And even for patients on lung heart bypass machines, there's a rotor which is sort of circulating blood around their body. So movement is absolutely necessary in the maintenance of life. And actually, sort of in patients who are still for prolonged periods, if they're intubated or if they're medically induced coma in the ICU, because their muscles don't move, it's possible to form blood clots in your venous system, which then, if they travel to your brain, heart, or lungs, can be devastating. So, in lieu of movement, we either anticoagulate these patients or we'll put compression stockings on them that sort of artificially inflate and deflate to simulate motion in their muscle groups to avoid the formation of such clots. Sure. In Western medicine, we generally break the body down into several pedagogical systems: the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, the gastrointestinal system, the endocrine system, and the exocrine system, which is our skin, our immune system, our renal system, our reproductive system, and the musculoskeletal systems. But these are purely, classifications that are less about function and more so about classifying them for the purpose of learning. Well, in terms of evidence-based Western medicine, I think the general measures that have been shown to improve health outcomes on a population level would be to eat a well-balanced and reasonable diet. And now, definitions will differ depending on what your current diet is like, what your health is like. But I think in broad strokes, you can say, a diet that's high in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, and fiber, high in variety of ingredients, and generally lower in terms of empty calories in the form of added sugars and carbohydrates, low in sodium, cholesterol, saturated, and trans fats. But keeping in mind that this is all relative to a Western diet, so if you come from a different part of the world, or if you live under different conditions, then those recommendations can differ. Second would be the recommendation of regular aerobic exercise. So I think the current standard is 150 minutes per week, divided over several days. But of course, any amount of exercise is healthy, and is preferable to no exercise. So you can be above or below that number as long as you are maintaining some level of aerobic activity. Third would be the avoidance of recreational drugs, and that includes, but is not exclusive to cigarettes, vapes, alcohol. So, there's this idea that some small amount of intake can be healthy for you, but that evidence is gradually changing. And so I think, the movement is towards fewer and fewer drinks per week. In fact, I would say no alcohol at all can, at this point, be a reasonably strong recommendation. And of course, other recreational drugs like opioids and stimulants generally seem to be unhealthy and habit-forming as well. My last suggestion, which is probably based on weaker evidence, but I think from personal experience and intuition, would be to have healthy relationships and to do things for the purpose of long-term satisfaction rather than focusing on short-term happiness.